Father Dave, now someone may not have, they may not have a belief or a religious sort of thing that they follow, but is it important for someone to have thought through their own personal code of honour or the ethics that they live by? Is it important for someone to think about that?
It's a tough question, isn't it?
It is, and it is the AM.
We shouldn't be drinking.
Yeah.
But, look, it's. I mean, people need to think, obviously, you know what I mean? But there's a danger. Look, my perspective comes from about a generation ago. Joseph Fletcher wrote a book called Situation Ethics, and he said there's three approaches to ethics, morals, whatever. There's the legalism, you know, every situation has a rule, and there's antinomianism, which says make no rules, nothing, anything goes, and there's situation ethics, which means you work it out in the situation. Now, I reckon he got it right, you know what I mean? So I reckon situations, ethics differ, you know, so people need to think things through, but if your way of thinking things through is coming up with a hard and fast moral code, so you've got an answer for every situation, that's the way ISIS operates, you know what I mean? Like, there's real dangers in that, I reckon, personally. And I know a lot of that's often associated with being religious as sort of having this fixed moral code, but I think it can be bloody dangerous.
Yeah. And to implement in real time things that you've learned is next to impossible when you're looking at the fight or flight complex. You know, what are you to do? Are you meant to, like, in a fraction of a second, think back to your learnings? It comes down to the individual, I would think.
If you're talking fight and flight, you're talking instinctive reactions anyway.
Exactly.
It's actually freeze flight or fight, you know what I mean? But you don't tend to have time to reflect on those sorts of things. But you're looking at more complex situations where, I mean, for me, it's coming from a sort of Jesus perspective, you know, there's one principle, and this again was Joseph Fletcher. Love's the principle, there's a million applications. So yeah, you try and live in love. And, you know, for me, that's a question like modelling yourself on Jesus as you understand him, but it's more like modelling yourself on the life rather than trying to have a sort of framework of rules that you're going off.
Now, a lot of people these days are interested in Buddhism, and they take a couple of things that Buddha says, or they might read online, or a book that might be given to them or something.
They've spent 20 minutes on it? Or
Sometimes, that's very true.
I don't know.
True. Are there things that are from the life of Jesus that someone who may not be religious and may be aggressively atheist can still take away and go, well, actually, you know what, that's a pretty good rule for life?
Totally. I mean, and I think people do. I mean, I've got plenty of atheist friends who have enormous respect for the life of Jesus because they see him as a person who had compassion. And I mean, that was the life. His life was characterised by compassion and inclusiveness, you know, including people who are at the bottom of society that others were getting rid of, which I think is, you know, what the church is supposed to be, into is this open, inclusive space for people. But yeah, compassion and forgiveness, I think, are the two things which characterise the life of Jesus, and I think they're generally seen by people religious and irreligious as being powerful forces. Yeah.
And thanks for knocking the top off a beer with us also.
Holy
Good
hell!
brother, come on. You know, clergy have a reputation for drinking. It's